You know.
So what have you learned about writing a jingle? A person comes to talk to you, all the experience that you've had, where does it come to fore when you start writing that jingle? It is really a mini pop song.
Yes, it's a little song, and I trust my instinct nowadays more. You know, all my music is coming from the 60s and the 70s, where I played in bands and I did my own. I still make my own music. I record my own songs, and the Beatles, all that stuff. I played it, you know, I learnt it, and I played it in bands, and that was my school. And then when I came to do jingles, it's just, for me personally, you know, it's melody, it's got to have a memorable melody. And a lot of tracks when I'm doing them now, I guess that's coming out in me, you know, it's stuff that's coming from my past. It's just rhythms and melodies and the way it resolves. And that's why I trust it, because I do a jingle. I did one recently that I had a bit of trouble selling, but I trusted it. Of course, it helps if the jingle gets a lot of airplay, whether it's good or bad. You know, if it gets a lot of airplay, it'll stick in the psyche of the population. So it's you know.
So how many jingles would you do a year? What's?
I don't do as many now as I used to. I was, you know, I don't know. I'm not doing. I might do, you know, a couple a month or something like that if I'm lucky. A lot of times they're not just jingles though. You see, I do a lot of, you know, a television channel might say we need some music for our news, or we need this, we need that, you know, or a sports program might say we need a theme for our, you know.
You are actually living. You know, you're making a living out of your hobby,
Yeah,
and everybody wants to do that, don't they?
Yes, finally.
Yeah.
They think they do, but it's like everything else in the end. It's work, and it's not easy sometimes. I mean, have been occasions along the way where the jingle that's finally gone to air is about the fourth or fifth one that I've had to do for the client to you know, work very hard to get it done. That's not uncommon. So it's not just a breeze, you know. It all has to sort of it has to work for them. You know, they've got to be happy. And I'm one of those people that, you know, I don't just throw the first thing I've done at a client and expect them to buy it. You know, I'm pretty keen for them to be happy too. Yeah. They got to trust me a little bit, and I've got to trust them. And it's a funny little game. And then sometimes if you strike a client where we don't quite sort of click, then there might be a problem. And, you know.
So Larry, you're watching television at night, and you're sitting there and you're flicking through the channels, of course. You'll keep hearing your own work, won't you?
I often do. In fact, I still think, I could be wrong, but it's got to be close to hearing one of them every night. You know, another one which is sort of fairly anonymous and isn't, it is high profile, but it's just backing music, and that's my music behind Tammy in the Briscoe ad, but not the sung end, because the sung end was their original sung end, and they segued that onto that beat. What they wanted was just an innocuous beat and drums that just played behind Tammy while she does the ad, and that has been my music since the mid-90s, and I believe it's still.
So every time I see
a Briscoe's ad, it's pretty much mine.
It's your music in the background. But the big question, Larry, the big question is, if you had your time over again, would you be a jingle writer?
Yes, I've been happy with that call, you know. Yeah, I have. You know, I feel it's changing a little bit now, so that's why I'm not overly worried about. You know, I do a lot of things, and so that's only part of what I do. You know, so I'm not worried about having to keep up the output. You know, I think music, as we know, it's. You know, it's funny. You know, there are things that become fashionable, then they sort of fall back, and then they come back again, and it's really surprising. You know, as I say, ads that I did in the early '90s are suddenly appearing on YouTube now. You know, and they had, you know, they had their life on TV, and then they went away, and some years went by. Next thing you know, up they come again. You know, it's just surprising. Yeah.
Well, we're hearing a great voice and, of course, great musical skills, but what about albums? Have you...
Yes, all along the way I've been recording my own music.
Now, I'm sure some of our viewers would love to get a piece of music. Now, tell us all about it.
I can't promise it sounds like Guilt Trap City Toyota, but yes, I do my own albums, and I work them on the internet mostly. I know I don't sell them in New Zealand shops particularly, but I do have them on the internet, and I've done pretty well on some occasions. My latest album, I've done 3. The latest album is called Never Going Back.
3 albums, and your latest one is called Never Going Back. That's what the album's called.
That's right.
But let's have a little listen to a track off the Never Going Back album. Which one would you like us to hear?
Okay, well, maybe it's Alan Vannon. My name is Killip, and it comes from the Isle of Man, you see.
Wow.
So I did a Manx song. It's like a traditional song from the Isle of Man, and that one sells very well.
Well, let's have it, just to have a quick listen.
When the summer day is over and its busy cares have flown, I sit beneath the starlight with a weary heart alone. Then it rises like a vision, sparkling bright in nature's glee. My own dear Alan Vernon, with its green hills by the sea.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And that's on the Never Going Back album.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Now,
Yeah.
how do we get hold of this album?
You can buy it on the internet, no problem at all. You can download it off iTunes, you can download it off cdbaby.com, all the MP3. These days you don't have to go and buy the hard copy necessarily, you just get online and you just find it and woof, and download it.
And there it is.
It's all there, yeah.
Well, Larry, the beat is still going on for Larry Killip, and I'd like to thank you very much for coming on
My
our show.
pleasure, Gerard, my pleasure.
First show for 2002.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Larry.
Much appreciated.
This is the time to travel.